गुरु साक्षात् परम ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। In our last session, we started on Bhakti Yoga. In the fourth shloka, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi says, Kaya Vangmana Karyamuttamam Pujanam Japa Chintanam Kramat. So, at the level of the body, speech, and the mind, here the sadhana is given puja, japa, and chintanam, contemplation. So, in the serial order like that, the other superior, in puja, all the three are required: body, speech, and the mind. And compared to puja in japa, speech and mind is needed. Whereas in chintanam, in contemplation, only the mind is there. So it is at a subtler level. Puja is at a grosser level, then the japa subtler than the puja, and contemplation is even subtler than japa. And therefore, the subtler sadhana is obviously superior to the grosser ones. In this serial order it is. So, sadhana in Bhakti Yoga always begins with duality and ends in non-duality. So after saying this in the fourth verse, in the fifth verse, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi says, Jagat Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Bhrut Deva Pujanam. Now he talks here about puja, the worship of the Lord. So what he says here is that the Rupa of the Lord is all pervading. It includes the entire existence. And therefore, Jagat Seva is also Ishwar Seva. Here he talks of, generally when we talk about idol worship, so if particular form we worship. Here Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi says that Ashtamurti Bhrut. The form of the Lord is Ashtamurti Bhrut. Ashtamurti, which comprises of the five great elements, Panchamahabhuta, moon, which represents all the grahas, all the planets, sun that represents all the luminous bodies, and Jiva represents all living beings. So that includes the entire creation, entire existence. So, and then when a particular form is worshipped, the focus is on the ideal behind the idol. Idol is just a representation, the ideal behind it. The purpose of puja is, of course, to increase our shraddha and also help us make our mind also single pointed, increase the concentration level as well. So, slowly through satsangs, we get more information, more knowledge about the idol that is being worshipped, our Ishtadevta. And as we learn more and more about our Ishtadevta, our Shraddha increases, our Prema increases, our Bhakti also increases. So that is the purpose of this puja. And here, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi insists that the entire existence don't limit to just one particular idol or something like that. The real puja is the seva of the entire world, samsara, the creation, because it is all his rupa only. So, when it is said about puja, japa, and chintana. Puja is of the rupa, japa is of the nama, and chintanam is of the swarupa. So that has to be understood very clearly. So rupa, nama, and swarupa. Contemplation is on the swarupa, which is not other than our own swarupa. Having said this, now today we begin a new shloka, part of Bhakti Yoga, Shlok 6. Uttamastavad Uchchamandatah Chittajam Japa Dhyanamuttamam. Uttamastavad Uchchamandatah Chittajam Japa Dhyanam Uttamam. Now, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi discusses the second part of this Bhakti Yoga. Second sadhana is the Japa sadhana. So, Uttamastava, that is the chanting of the glory of the Lord, that is Kirtanam, Bhajanam and Kirtanam, is good, and superior to that is the loud Japa, Chittajam Japa, and then superior to that is Dhyanam Uttamam, the contemplation, mental Japa, Manas Japa. So there are three levels in which the Japa is done. First, let us understand this Japa. Why there is a need for Japa sadhana? At any given time, our mind entertains multiple subjects and multiple thoughts. That is the normal state of the mind. As a spiritual seeker now, we have to change it to rise above that. So bring it down to, instead of multiple subject, one subject. One subject, multiple thoughts. And finally bring it down to one subject, one thought. So Japa is all about bringing it down to one subject, one thought. Japa also reduces the vasana to some extent. We have already discussed this, to reduce the vasanas, because all the desires come from the vasanas. Vasanas are the tendencies or the impressions from the past experiences, not only of this life, but of the past lives. So from there, the desires arise. All the vasanas are in our subconscious mind. From time to time, it comes to the surface of the conscious mind. And from that, the desire arises. So, Japa also helps us in reducing the vasanas. Now, Japa contains two letters, Ja and Pa. Ja is Javena and Pa is Paramatma. Javena means quickly. So, to quickly attain the supreme reality, Paramatma. So, Javena Paramatma. In Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna says that among all the yoga, I am the Japa yoga. Now, in Japa also, there are two types of Japa. One is Nama. Nama Japa is there, Nama Smaran or Nama Japa. The other is Mantra Japa. So these are the two kinds. In the Mantra Japa, of course, there are certain rules to be followed. So that is not easy. We have to follow certain rules for that. And Mantra Japa is generally we get a Diksha in that. We just can't choose a mantra and start chanting. Nama Smaran we can do on our own. If somebody has not got the Diksha of Mantra Diksha, they can start chanting Nama Smaran, anyone can do that. Or Om chanting also anyone can do. No need to get it a Diksha in that. But with mantra, we need to have Diksha, certain rules have to be followed. But in Nama Japa, we simply chant the name of the Lord, call the name of the Lord, Sambodhana. Chittajam Japa is to ingrain within our own self the Lord's name. As we identify a person with a surname, a family name or surname, so ingraining within ourselves the Lord's name, this is called as dhyana japa. In other three paths, purushartha is required. But in dhyana, the other three paths is the karma yoga, ashtanga yoga, and jnana yoga. So purushartha is given importance in that also. In bhakti yoga, name of the Lord is important and it takes care of everything of the devotee. So japa is an aid to dhyana. So japa will, because japa also helps us in making our mind single pointed, increasing the concentration level, and so on. So nama japa, nama smaran, it starts with the anusthana. We take some anusthana or sankalpa of doing japa. All the japa should start with likhita japa first. Likhita japa is very important in the beginning stage. So when we write the name of our Ishta Devata, whether it is Sri Ram or Sri Krishna or Om Namah Shivaya, whatever it may be. So its picture or murti or picture is there in front of us. We are seeing that with our eyes. We are chanting also and we are writing with the hand also. And this Likita Japa has to be in as beautiful handwriting as possible and as small as possible. So that concentration level is there. So we start writing in very small letters, most beautiful letter, and the focus is there. In every day, we may write 4 or 5 lines at the most, but with full concentration. When we are writing in small letters, and it should be readable. Or we may write in small letters, and even under magnifying glass also, we can't read what we have written. That will not work. It has to be readable, legible. So one should be able to read it also clearly, even however small it may be, and it should be very beautiful also. That increases our focus also, concentration level also. So we begin with the Likhita Japa, and then we start chanting with the use of mala. Some sankalpa is taken, I will have 1 mala a day or 2 morning and evening or 3 malas, whatever sankalpa we take, according to that. So we start with that, and in Vaikhari Vani we start the japa. Now, with this mala also, when you start in Vaikhari Vani, then we have to progress to Madhyama and then Upanshu, what you call that, Mansik Japa. Madhyama and Upanshu, similar one. That is, in a lower voice we chant. In Vaikhari Vani, others can also hear. In Madhyama, we are chanting, our lips are moving, but no one else can hear that. But it's called Madhyama or Upanshu Vani also. And then the Manas Japa is there. So obviously, in one is superior to other. Manas Japa is definitely superior to the Vaikhari Vani and Upanshu Vani. So in Shandilya Upanishad, it comes that the benefit of Upanshu Vani or Madhyama Vani, where others cannot hear, only we can hear, our lips are moving, that is 1,000 times more than Vaikhari Vani. And the benefit of Manas Japa is 1 crore times more than the Vaikhari Vani Japa, progressively. So therefore, Manas Japa is given more importance, more benefits accrue from that. But for Manas Japa, again, the mind has to be very concentrated, single pointed. Should not wander here or there. That is very important in that. So, Japa, when we come at the end of Japa, one prayer has to be chanted, a small prayer it is. What is that prayer? We have to pray that, O Lord, make my body, mind, and intellect worthy of your seva. So that is very important. So at the end of the japa, because we have seen in the fourth shlok itself that Ashtamurti Bhrut, it is the Jagat Seva itself is the highest puja. And here now with japa sadhana, we also pray at the end of our japa that, O Lord, make my body, speech, and mind, intellect, everything worthy of your seva. So this is an important aspect of this japa sadhana. With Atma Vichar also, we reduce Vasana to a great extent, and japa sadhana is an aid to Atma Vichar because it also makes the mind single pointed. Now, what is the most important aspect of japa sadhana? It is not making the sankalp of chanting more malas per day, 5 malas, 7 malas, 11 malas I will chant, I'll do the japa of 11 malas every day. It is not increasing the number of malas. The highest practice in japa yoga is observing the sandhi kala between the chanting of the two names. So earlier, of course, initially, we continuously chant non-stop without a break because to avoid any dissimilar thoughts to seep in. So we say Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya without a break. Or Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram, and so on. So initially, because we are trying to control the mind, and therefore this is required continuously, not allowing any other thought to get in. After practicing this for some time, when at least some measure of single pointedness has come, mind has calmed down, then we can start observing the sandhi kala between the two chantings. So once we chant Sri Rama or Om Namah Shivaya, and before taking the other name, next one, we observe the silence in between. This is the main purpose of japa sadhana, to observe the sandhi kala between the two nama, between the two chanting. So once we take a name, Om Namah Shivaya, then observe the silence. And now the chanting of the name is done only to cut off any dissimilar thought that may come in, or any thought that will come in between. So after Om Namah Shivaya, there is no thought. Maybe for 1 or 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. As soon as any thought enters, immediately we use again Om Namah Shivaya to cut it off. So we keep the Sandhi Kala, focus is on the Sandhi Kala. When we are focusing on Sandhi Kala, it is our own Swarupa we are focusing on. This is our own Swarupa. We are closest to ourself, the supreme reality, our own person, our own Swarupa, our self. And this pure self is actually the substratum of both the sound as well as the silence. This is an important thing. It is not only the substratum of sound and silence, but it is also the substratum of bhava and abhava. So, whether there is something manifest or something unmanifest, something present or something absent, it is a substratum of everything. So, this is how we progress on in the japa sadhana. Sandhi kala is most important in japa sadhana. And when we start focusing on Sandhi kala, it has got numerous benefits. When we do the practice, we'll get that, we'll have the experience also. So therefore, this japa sadhana is also not an ordinary sadhana. It is an important sadhana. One should not take it as a simple one. No, it has got numerous benefits, no doubt about that. And japa sadhana also can take us to that supreme reality to a great extent by us being an aid to the chintanam, contemplation also. So therefore, Japa is no doubt an aid to the dhyana. And therefore, in the initial stages, all the seekers are told to take the name of the Lord if they are Ishta Devata, if they are not initiated into a mantra by any particular guru. It doesn't matter. They can keep chanting the name of their Ishta Devata. Now, continuing with this thought, in the seventh shloka, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says that आज्यधारया स्त्रोतसा समं सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परम् आज्यधारया स्त्रोतसा समं सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परम्. Ajya is the clarified butter, ghee. Ajya dharaya strotasa is the flow of the river. So as the river flows non-stop, and Taila Dharavat, Ajya Dhara like Taila Dharavat, that is a thin flow of oil or ghee without a break. Ajya Dharaya Stotasa Samam. Sarala Chintanam. So Ajya Dharaya Stotasa is like Sarala Chintanam, uninterrupted contemplation. And it is superior to Viralata. Viralata is interrupted contemplation. So now after this puja and japa, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi speaks about Chintanam, that is Nididhyasanam. In Nididhyasanam, the flow of thought is towards one object. Continuous flow of thought towards one object. Here, of course, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi doesn't speak of Chintanam of what, whether it is of Sagun Sakar or Sagun Nirakar or Nirgun Nirakar. That he has not clarified here. That he has left it to the seeker, whatever he may be comfortable with, whether it is Sagun Sakar or Sagun Nirakar or Nirgun Nirakar. And here, of course, he speaks about these two types of Chintanam, Sarala and Viralata. So, uninterrupted and interrupted. So, Sarala Chintanam without any interruption, like the Taila Dharavat or the flow of oil or ghee or even the flow of river, Stota Sasamam, without a break, continuous, non-stop. And Viralta, of course, is taking a continuous break in between. What is this break? When the mind wanders while the chanting is going on. Mind will keep wandering into other subjects because mind is expert in multitasking. So it will keep chanting the name also and keep thinking about other things also. So whenever we are aware that the mind has wandered, immediately we have to bring it back to our japa sadhana or the chintanam, whatever contemplation we are doing. So we have to bring it back again and again. So here, mind is one, but then it is modified into various thoughts. Just as a clay can take various forms, it is modified into various forms, various molds or forms, we can say. Similarly, mind also, though it is one, is modified into a variety of thoughts, various activities it is involved in. So, like the river which never stops, continuously it flows, our sadhana also should never stop. So, Ajya Dharaya Strota Sasamam, like the continuous flow of ghee or oil, or the continuous non-stop flow of the river, a better example. Our sadhana should never stop at all. So, and Viralata, of course, is inferior to this Saralata. Sarala Chintanam is superior to the Viralata. Because puja and japa, compared to puja and japa, of course, Chintanam is superior, Nididhyasana or contemplation is superior. So it doesn't mean that we should jump to contemplation first. Okay. Contemplation is superior to puja and japa. So why waste time in puja and japa? Why not directly enter into contemplation? But there are two things here. One is, are we qualified for contemplation now? So one has to be qualified for contemplation. And then always we want the supreme first. But will we be able to do that? When we are climbing a ladder, we have to climb on each step. If we try to jump the step, we may slip and fall. Always there is a step-by-step progress is there. If somebody thinks that, okay, if I am a graduate will help me getting a job. So why waste time in school? Why not straight away go to university and get a degree? But that school education is also very, very important for us to qualify for that university education. We can't jump onto that. If somebody is eating some sweet and he gets satisfied only after eating the 10th piece of that sweet. So somebody says that, okay, then I should have eaten the 10th piece first. That doesn't work. The first nine pieces also help in satiating his hunger. So just because 10th piece gave him the satisfaction of fulfillment, it doesn't mean that he should have taken the 10th piece first. He could have felt that satisfaction of fulfillment immediately. No, that first nine pieces also went into that satisfaction that he got after consuming the 10th one. So one can't jump the steps. So though here Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi speaks about the superiority of Chintanam, contemplation compared to Puja and Japa, all have got its own place. And everybody's body, mind, intellect is different. So who is eligible for what? We ourselves know what we are comfortable with. And therefore we should take to that and it will be easier for us. When we try to do something which is difficult, which we have never tried, then there will be failures and then frustrations will come up. So instead, we have to follow what is suitable for our prakriti. The play of sattva, rajas, tamas, the evolutionary level of the body, mind, and intellect equipment, and so on, and our progress on the spiritual path. Having said that, now we move on to the next verse, Shlok 8. Now, after speaking about this continuous contemplation, effortless contemplation, now Bhagwan throws further light on contemplation. 8th Shlok. भेद भावना सोहमित्यसौ भावना विदा पावनी mata. Now this here, Bheda Bhavanat and Bhavana Abhida. Bheda Bhavanat is duality and Bhavana Abhida is non-duality. So compared to this Bheda Bhavana, that is duality, Saha Aham Iti Asau, he I am. The contemplation on he I am, this is considered Pavani Mata. It is considered, according to the Shruti, it is considered as holy, superior, purifier, and so on. So here, Bheda Bhavana, Abhida Bhavana. So contemplation with the Bhava of Dvaita on duality. And then this superior one is the contemplation on non-dual self. And it is purifying also, it is holy. The one who is contemplating, the contemplator, Niridhyasan Karta, and the object of contemplation, and the continuous flow of thought towards the object of contemplation is called as Niridhyasana or contemplation. So, three things are involved: the contemplator, the object of contemplation, and a continuous flow of thoughts towards that object of contemplation. This process is called as contemplation. This is called as Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha, where no other type of thoughts will interfere. Only one type of thought is going towards that object. So, dhyana can be of Saguna also and Nirguna also. And in Saguna, of course, the Dvaita is there because Saguna is of form only. Something with a form is there, a quality is there. So the quality defines that. And Nirgun Nirakar is very subtle. So there, it is not so easy. Contemplation on the Saguna Sakar comparatively is easy. Dvaita Bhavana is there. And in Nirguna, there is no Dvaita there. It is our own self we are contemplating on. There is no other than that, because when we talk about Nirguna, Nirakara, there is no form, no quality, no colors, nothing. I alone exists. So that is our own Swarupa. So that is even more difficult, tougher, as long as we are strongly identified with our body, gross body, mind and intellect. Contemplation on Nirgun Nirakar is almost very, very difficult or impossible to beginners. Slowly we have to progress towards that. Initially it may be tough, very difficult, but slowly we can progress towards it from Sagun Sakar to Sagun Nirakar first and then to Nirgun Nirakar. Where there is no Dvaita Bhavana. In Nirgun, of course, the dhyana is on the pure awareness, the supreme reality. And that is, of course, superior to the Saguna Sadhana, dhyana. So, there is no Dvaita in the Nirgun dhyana, because pure consciousness is actually our own Swarupa. Now, there can be a doubt. Can an ordinary jiva, how can an ordinary jiva be Ishvara, Saha Aham Iti Asam, that I am, he I am, Saha, he I am. How can an ordinary jiva be Ishvara? Now, this example you have taken many times. For the clarification's sake, we can take it. When a wave is there, a small wave, of course, it is intimidated by other waves which are bigger also, taller, longer, and so on. So it is intimidated by that. And then, of course, it will want to be like a bigger wave, but then it gets intimidated by the vast ocean also, massive ocean. The small wave looks at the other waves, bigger waves, in competition with that small wave. And then it looks at the vast ocean also. It must be so intimidating. So, and then this small wave doesn't know what its Swarupa is. Maybe starts thinking that I should have been a bigger wave, more confidence will come. But whether it is small wave or big wave, it is subject to destruction. And then the ocean is also intimidating, such a huge and vast ocean, and I'm just a small wave in some one part of this ocean. And what is my so-called lifespan? And then, when one day this small wave realizes that my Sakshat Swarupa is water, then all this fear of going out of existence, fear of sorrow, misery, and pain, everything disappears. Because without water, there is no existence for ocean or the wave. Water is the reality, ocean and the waves are the superimposition on that. Ocean, waves, surf, bubbles, snowflakes, ice, vapors. They are all superimposition on water. They are different names, different forms, but it is all the same. So it is our Sakshat Swarupa. So for a wave, the Sakshat Swarupa is water. And once that is realized, when the waves realizes, he I am, that water is what I am, then all the fear will disappear. Therefore, fear is always about Dvaita. When someone is there other than I may have fear about that someone. If no one is there other than I, then there is no I notion also. That I notion will also disappear. Only the pure self will exist there. I arises after I, then the other thoughts arise. If nobody else is there, then this I thought will also not arise. That will also get dissolved. Then what is left is pure self. Without I notion also. There is no I notion in that. Now here in the 9th verse, more clarification comes. भाव शून्य सद भाव सुस्थिति भावना बलात् भक्तिरुत्तमा. भाव शून्य सद भाव सुस्थिति भावना बलात् भक्तिरुत्तमा. Now here Uttama Bhakti, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi speaks about. So Bhava Shunya means devoid of any thought modification. There is no thought modification at all. Bhava Shunya. So Bhava Shunya Sadbhava Sustiti. Sadbhava Sustiti, that is the abidance in the Sadbhava, existence principle. Sustiti. Sustiti is the firm abidance there, where there is no thought modification. And this bhavana balat, by the strength of this thought, that is he I am, saha aham iti aso, with the strength of this thought only we reach the state of firm abidance in that existence principles, sadbhava sustiti, where there is no other thought modification. And this is called as uttama bhakti, supreme devotion, supreme bhakti. So bhavana balat, with the strength of this thought, one single pointed contemplation on this thought, saha aham, that is, he I am. Sadbhava sustiti. So then, as a seeker, we get established in the Sat Swarupa. Sat Swarupa, where there is bhava shunya, where there is no vritti vikara, thought free, objectless, thought free state it is, bhava shunya. So, objectless, thought free state, and it is pure blissful awareness. So, that is called as bhakti uttama, uttama bhakti, supreme bhakti, supreme devotion. Now, this bhakti is nitya. Why it is nitya? Bhakti is nitya. And therefore, it is Sat Swarupa. So, therefore, it is also called as Sat. Sat is nitya, existence, pure existence. That is nitya. And this Sat is vritti rahit. Pure existence is thought free, objectless and thought free. So, thoughts manifest in the intellect. And therefore, in the beginning, I am that Shuddha Chaitanya, I am that pure awareness. That thought is there. I am that Sat Swarupa, that is pure existence, existence absolute, consciousness, knowledge absolute, and bliss absolute. So I am that pure existence. So this, we have to keep continuous contemplation on that. Our Sakshat Swarupa, that is, I am the pure existence. So with this sadhana, we reach, ultimately we get fully established in our own Sakshat Swarupa. And all the vrittis get silenced there. There is no thought flow there. This is important. The very common example that is often quoted in the scriptures is the example of sleep. When we feel sleepy, I think I feel sleepy, so I should go to sleep. So then switch off the light, lie on bed. I'm feeling sleepy. I want to sleep. I'm feeling sleepy. As long as this thought is there, we have not fallen asleep. When all the thoughts regarding the sleep ceases, that is when we have gone into sleep. As long as the thought of sleep is there, I am sleepy, I want to sleep, and all that thing is there, till then we have not fallen asleep. Once all the sleep thought ceases to exist, we have fallen asleep. So this is called as effortless identity with the pure self. That is called as Uttama Bhakti, supreme devotion. So Bhava Shunya Sad Bhava Sustiti, Bhavana Balat, Bhakti hi Uttama. So by the strength of that, which was spoken of in the earlier shloka, Saha Aham Iti Asau, firm abidance in that supreme reality, that pure self, my own self, where there are no thought eruptions, Bhava Shunya, Sadbhava Sustiti. So this is called as supreme bhakti, supreme devotion. Now you see, for a person who considers himself or herself as a bhakta, generally by and large, a devotee is fully focused on the name and form of his Ishta Devata. Now here Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi is giving a different facet of this bhakti. So from the puja to Nama Japa to contemplation. So Rupa, Nama, and then to Swarupa. He's taking slowly towards that. So therefore, bhakti should end in jnana. This is how bhakti ends in jnana. So here beautifully Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi has put it very nicely. So puja, rupa, japa, nama, chintanam, swarupa. So from the saguna sakar, we progress towards the nirgun nirakar, which is our sakshat swarupa. And that is the uttama bhakti. When bhakti reaches its parakashta stage, the supreme stage, and the bhakti reaches, and then bhakta and the object of devotion both become one. Then there is no duality. That is where they experience the non-dual self. And this, of course, we have seen in many Mahatmas' life. We have seen that they started off as a great bhakta, and then they ended up in the Advaita Bodha. Whether it is Tukaram Maharaj, Namdev Maharaj, they all started with as a bhakta only, and they ended up in non-dual reality. And here Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi has taken us in this particular section of this Upadesha Saara Bhakti beautifully from Dvaita to Advaita, from Bhakti, Puja, Japa and Chintanam. Dvaita to Advaita. This is a very beautifully he has put it here. Then concluding this particular section in the 10th verse, 10th shloka, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi says, हृत्स्थले मन स्वस्थता क्रिया भक्ति योग बोधाश्च निश्चितम् हृत्स्थले मन स्वस्थता क्रिया भक्ति योग बोधाः च निश्चितम्. Now here the goal of this four path is given. हृत्स्थले मन स्वस्थता, that is establishment of the mind in the heart. Here the heart is the spiritual heart, or the heart has to be considered our own swarupa. So Kriya Yoga, that is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. The goal of this four path is to be established in our own real self. So here it has been very clearly given by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Establishment of ourself in our own self, the real self, in our Swarupa. That is the goal of these four paths: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. Here, of course, Hrutsale, Hrut is heart, but here heart has to be considered as a spiritual heart, or even better, it is our own Swarupa, to be fully established in our own Swarupa. Briefly, the four yoga is Karma and Bhakti. That has been done. In the first three shloka, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi spoke of karma, and the next six shloka, he spoke about this bhakti yoga. And then in the remaining shloka, he'll speak about this Ashtanga yoga. Now, Ashtanga yoga also has got Antaranga and Bahiranga and Antaranga sadhana. Ashtanga yoga. The first four limbs of Ashtanga yoga, they are Bahiranga sadhana. And the next four limbs are the Antaranga sadhana. So first four is that Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam. And then the next four is Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So that is the Antaranga sadhana. And of course the Jnana Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, of course, we have been doing that now for quite some time, the study of the scriptures. In Jnana Yoga, thoughts lead to the experience of the world. And where do the thoughts arise? Thoughts arise in our own mind. So, and it begins with the I thought. If the I thought doesn't arise, then there is no experience of the world at all. So, in a way, mind is the doer, and the quality or the merits of the doer depends upon the quality of the modification of the mind. And therefore, the goal of all path is to absorb the mind in its source. Karma Yoga purifies the mind. Bhakti Yoga helps in absorption of the mind in the object of devotion. And Ashtanga Yoga helps in the making the mind single pointed. And of course, Jnana Yoga helps in establishing the mind in its own source, the pure self, where all the thought process ceases to exist. So these are the four paths which Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi has spoken of. Now here in the first 10 shloka, he has covered Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Now he'll begin with the Dhyana Yoga, a part of Ashtanga Yoga. Now here, Ashtanga Yoga, also known as Raja Yoga, the Antaranga Sadhana is known as Raja Yoga. Pratyahar is the withdrawal of the mind from the external world. The last four limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, and Pranayam, they are the Bahiranga Sadhana. And Antaranga Sadhana, the last four. Pratyahara, withdrawal of the mind from the external world. And then Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So in the 11th shloka, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Vayurodhanat liyate mana jala pakshivat rodha sadhanam. Vayurodhanat liyate mana jala pakshivat rodha sadhanam. So by the control of the pranas, the mind becomes single pointed. Jala pakshivat rodha sadhanam, but it is only temporary. As a bird is trapped in a net, and as soon as the net is opened, the bird will fly off. So as long as that pranayam practice is there, the mind is under control. After the pranayam practice ceases, immediately the mind will start wandering everywhere. Now, in Dhyana Yoga, the focus will be on meditation. Meditation is one word in English, but it has got three aspects: dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. First, we need to understand what is meditation. We have, of course, spoken of many times. There are different definitions of meditation, but the one which I like the most is meditation is a journey which begins from where we are right now and ends in where we have always been. So it is a journey without distance. It is a journey from myself to myself, a journey without distance. It is a journey from ignorance to knowledge. For we see for the first time what we have been looking at all these time, all the lives together, we see for the first time. So this is a special journey, a journey without distance. Now, dharana is to make the mind single-pointed. So there are different ways of making the mind single-pointed. Different techniques are given. Dhyana is to transcend the identity with the body, mind, and intellect equipment. That is called as dhyana. So dharana is making the mind single-pointed. Dhyana is to transcend the identity with the body, mind, intellect equipment. And then samadhi is the timeless state of dhyana. So this dhyana is focusing on just one thought. No other thought comes. So dharana is, of course, restricting the thinking process to just one thought, not no more than that. Now here, as Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi has said, is Vayu Rodhanat Liyate Mana. So the prana is used. Now, what is the relationship between the prana and the mind? Mind is subtle and the body is gross. In between, there is something called as the pranas. Now, prana is neither subtle nor gross. It is subtler than the body, but grosser than the mind. It is a connection between the two. Because to a certain extent, we can control it. We can increase the respiratory rate. We can reduce the respiratory rate. We can stop it for some time and so on. So some kind of control physically, we can do it. We can actually feel it also. So it is neither gross nor subtle in between. But these pranas can be used to control the mind to a certain extent. Because very few people are really Vairagi. Very few. Taponji Maharaj is an exception like that. Otherwise, we have to use some other means to control the mind. Vairagi, where the mind will not go out at all because one has had a full conviction that there is actually no iota of joy, pleasure, or happiness in the external world. So mind will never wander there at all. Such a Vairagi is a very rare one. So then for them, they don't have to do any sadhana to control the mind. But for others, we need some sadhana, some practice, some technique to control the mind. So one of the techniques suggested is the pranayam practice. Now there is a close relationship between the mind and the pranas. The modification of the mind, the quality of thoughts and all that thing, it will affect the respiratory rate also. So they have got some connection. Like for example, if somebody has become very angry, then we can observe that his respiratory rate increases. That is reflected in his respiration also. So also, if we can calm down our respiratory rate, that can control the mind also. Both ways it can work. So the mind will have the effect on the respiration. Respiration will have the effect on the mind also. So pranayam practice is actually to bring the mind under control. Through pranayam, we influence the mind to make it calm and single pointed. So they have this connection, and it can be used, this pranayam practice can be used to control the mind. But as long as this pranayam is maintained, till then the mind is under control. When this pranayam practice is stopped, immediately the mind will revert back to its original nature. That is, keep wandering here and there. So it has its own limitations, no doubt. Now, in pranayam also, there are different practices given in different yoga. The pranayam practice that is given in Hatha Yoga. What is that? In that, Rechak is there. You exhale completely, then Puraka, you inhale, and then there is a retention called as Kumbhaka. We retain, and then there is Rechaka, whatever is retained, that is released, exhaled, and then there is an external retention also, Bahya Kumbhaka. So there is Antar Kumbhaka and Bahya Kumbhaka. So first Rechak, completely exhale, then you inhale Puraka, retain within, that is Antar Kumbhaka, then exhale Rechaka, and then maintain Kumbhaka there, that is called as Bahya Kumbhaka. This is a complete pranayam practice. Now in this all practice, Kumbhaka is very important. Retention, Kumbhaka. In Ashtanga Yoga, what they speak of is not Antar Kumbhaka or Bahya Kumbhaka. They speak about Kevala Kumbhaka. What is this Keval Kumbhaka? We must have observed this many times, that sometimes we are neither inhaling nor exhaling, we are neither retaining within nor retaining outside. The entire respiratory process we have stopped. Say, for example, somebody is trying to thread the needle, and then unknowingly it happens that you hold your breath. You are neither inhaling nor exhaling, neither there is internal retention or external retention, but you are trying to thread that needle, and suddenly everything is stopped. That respiratory process is completely stopped. At that point in time, the focus of concentration is very high. So that same thing is when that Kevala Kumbhaka Sthiti comes, where you are neither inhaling, but that is only for a short period, neither inhaling nor exhaling, neither there is internal retention nor external retention, Antar Kumbhak or Bahya Kumbhak. It is only Kevala Kumbhaka. So pranayam practice is to take us to that Kevala Kumbhaka Sthiti. This is one. In Vipassana, of course, they ask you to focus on respiration. Whatever the rate of respiration is happening, you focus on that. Inhalation and exhalation is happening. Anapana, they call it. So that is the focus given in that in Vipassana. And then, of course, in Kriya Yoga, we have already seen Anulom Vilom Pranashuddhi Kriya is given in the Kriya Yoga. So with these practices, even Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi also speaks about this pranayam in this, how it can control, but it is only temporary. Prana Vikshana. So here, with these practices, we can control to a certain extent our mind, but only to a limited period. There are other practices also to make the mind single pointed. In Ashtanga Yoga, in Hatha Yoga, they give a practice of Jyoti Trataka. Jyoti Trataka is also a very powerful practice to make the mind single pointed. Even if we are able to do this Jyoti Trataka for 2-3 minutes also, the mind can acquire a very high level of concentration or single pointedness. So, as a seeker on the spiritual path, we can utilize different techniques given in the scriptures to make our mind single pointed, to help our mind focus on where we want it to be focused on, instead of wandering all over the place. Now, further on this Dhyana Yoga, we'll see in our next session. If anybody has got any questions, they can ask.
Any question from anybody? Can, can you hear me, Swamiji?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Swamiji,
Hmm.
how much glad, how much happy I feel today is very, words cannot describe, Swamiji. This Upadesha Saara, I must be doing fifth or sixth, maybe even 7 times since
Hmm.
1982.
Hmm.
But this is the one book,
Hmm.
Upadesha Saara,
Hmm.
is giving me so much joy, Swamiji,
Hmm.
because it appears to be very simple,
Hmm.
but very, very profound, very, very profound.
Yes.
To the serious seeker,
Hmm.
enough information is given, which can be converted into the sadhana, if
Hmm.
one wants to do a serious sadhana.
Yes.
And I really feel that Raman Maharshi is once saying he is not interested in giving you answer which can lead to debate.
Hmm.
He is interested in, as you said today,
Hmm.
the journey from ignorance to knowledge.
That's all that is required.
That is what is required, and he will concentrate on that only, Swamiji.
Yes.
And if you study the Paul Brenton or so many other books,
Hmm.
he has not wavered even at one place whereby he has gone astray in giving answer for satisfaction of this our stupid intellect. Anyway,
Intellectual gymnastics.
gymnastics, yes, Swami. Now, I had two, three questions today,
Okay.
but today your lecture
Hmm.
has given answer to all these questions.
Oh, very good.
Now,
Hmm.
my question was witness consciousness and pure consciousness.
Hmm.
I think it is related to what you said about substratum of above.
Hmm.
Now, substratum of above is pure consciousness, isn't it? Which is a
Yes.
substratum.
Hmm.
And whereas witness consciousness is, Swamiji, can you say some few words on witness consciousness?
When you say about witness,
Hmm,
that means you are witnessing something.
hmm,
Okay. So when you are witnessing something, the Dvaita is already there.
hmm,
Okay. The only thing is that on the spiritual path, we start with being a witness.
hmm,
Initially, when we are not a spiritual seeker, what happens is that we get carried away by whatever we see, whatever we hear, and all that thing.
hmm,
When we stand apart and start being a witness, that is the first step on the spiritual path.
hmm,
And we observe things, we contemplate on that. So, witnessing consciousness, being a witness is the first step. And after that, we go into the pure consciousness where there is nothing to witness.
hmm,
That is the highest stage. But we begin with being a witness. Earlier, we were not a witness. Anything is happening, we are all involved into that. Witness is standing apart, whatever is happening. Whatever is happening, not only externally in the
hmm,
outer world, but also within our own self, within our own body, within our own mind and intellect, whatever is happening, the kind of thoughts we entertain, kind of emotions and feelings we entertain, and so on. So being a witness to that so that we don't get carried away by that. So that is the first step on the spiritual path for a seeker.
hmm,
Unless we become a witness,
hmm.
we don't become a seeker. We have to be a witness first. Then only we are a spiritual seeker. So
Very, very, very subtle and thin distinction, isn't
yes,
it, Swamiji?
yes, it is that. And then this witnessing goes away when we abide in the pure self. There is no witnessing, only pure awareness, objectless, thought free, infinite blissful awareness. That's all. Witnessing is all gone. Witnessing is again limited to the duality only. I and my contents of my mind, I and my contents of my intellect, and so on.
Hmm.
I and the external world. And then when we withdraw the mind from the external world, then of course the mind and its contents are of course there. Intellect and its contents are also of course there. So being a witness not just to the external world, once we withdraw it, then the witness to the what is happening in the mind
Hmm.
and the intellect also.
Hmm. So when we get the stimuli from through our five senses,
Hmm.
we are carried away with the stimulus
Yeah.
and the consciousness,
Hmm.
which we lose sight of the consciousness and we are carried away with these stimulus that or thoughts that we get, isn't it?
Right.
So here you are fully aware about the pure consciousness as well as you are watching it dispassionately.
Hmm.
That is what you are saying, Swamiji.
Yes. See, when we are witnessing something,
Hmm.
then we'll not get carried away.
Hmm.
When we are not a witness and we identify with what we are observing,
Hmm.
that is when we get carried away by that. As long as we are a witness, we are fine. As soon as we get identified with what is happening there, we get carried away by that. And then that starts affecting us, whether positively or negatively, whatever it may be.
Reaction.
The
Hmm.
reaction will be there
Hmm.
accordingly. And then we may suffer or whatever that may happen. So therefore, as long as we are a witness, there is no problem. Like in that, what you call, the Upanishad is there, Dve Suparna.
Hmm.
Two birds sitting on the tree, one bird
Yeah.
is enjoying the fruit, the other bird is just sitting there and witnessing everything, not getting involved in anything. Hmm. So that is how it is. So being a witness is the first step for a spiritual seeker. Observe everything that is happening, not just in the external world, also within our own body, mind, and intellect. We have to observe and stand apart and observe how our emotions are there, what quality it is taking up, how our thoughts are there in our intellect, what quality it is taking up.
Hmm.
And we have to be a witness. And then only we'll be able to withdraw from that as well and transcend the mind intellect equipment itself.
Hmm.
Until we are a witness, we cannot. First, when we are told to observe the mind, of course, obviously, normally we observe the contents of the mind.
Hmm.
Okay, we can begin with the observing the contents of the mind and then observe the mind and get avoid ignore the contents and then go beyond. That is how we go beyond the mind.
Hmm.
So it starts with the contents and then the container and then beyond the container.
Hmm. Now, Swamiji,
Hmm.
today you said that you move gradually from japa,
Puja.
puja to japa, and so on and so forth.
Ah.
Now, this is a subjective. I'm talking about myself.
Hmm.
I feel the most powerful thing is pranayama,
Hmm.
particularly alom vilam.
Hmm.
Then what is that? Shodhanam, Nadi Shodhanam.
Hmm.
And you said today for the first time I heard about the Kevala Kumbhaka.
Keval Kumbhakam.
Uh, so is it necessary to go through puja and puja, jap and all those things straight away? One cannot start with the pranayam because that is what I do.
I already said that
Hmm.
everybody's prakriti is different.
Hmm.
Everybody's within everybody, the play of sattva, rajas, tamas, guna, these three gunas are different.
Hmm.
And then the samskaras they have inherited, they are different. Their impressions are different. So
Hmm.
therefore, whatever is suitable for them, they have to follow that.
Hmm.
For some, to begin with, puja will be very suitable for them. They will be very comfortable with doing puja when they are fully involved. The body, the speech, and the mind are fully involved in that. And it is easier compared to japa and chintanam. Because chintanam is subtler than even puja and japa. Those who are qualified, those who are adhikari, those whose minds are single pointed, they don't need the support of this puja or japa, they can start contemplation. There's no problem. But it all depends upon the individuality, because each and every one of us is unique physically, mentally, and intellectually. And therefore, that is the greatness of Sanatan Dharma, that we have path for each and every one of us. No two people will walk the same path. Each and every one of us will walk our own unique path towards the ultimate goal of self-realization. And that is the beauty here. And therefore, the sadhana is also given, variety of sadhana is given to suit variety of seekers, depending upon their evolutionary level on the physical, psychological, and intellectual intellectual levels, and their own levels on the spiritual path. So there are so many paths are there, so many practices are there, so many techniques are there, which you'll never find in any other religion. So many varieties. So nobody is left out. Even the most tamasic person also will have some sadhana will be prescribed to him also. He can't say that I am the most tamasic, spirituality is not for me. Sanatan Dharma will not leave him also. Well, for you also there is some practice, Dharma will say. So that is the beauty of Sanatan Dharma. So therefore, each and every one of us, they are different, and whatever is suitable, whatever agrees with us, whatever is easily coming to us, that we should start with, and slowly we'll end up in the same goal. Each and every one of us, without exception, will end up there only. One place only, that's it. We may
Swamiji,
start
thank
a different path.
Swamiji, thank you very much. And today,
Swamiji,
to 1 minute, auntie, 1 minute. Swamiji, today is Valentine's Day.
Oh,
14th. And on behalf of all the participants, we offer you our love and a flower of gratitude and love to you, Swamiji. Yes, auntie, you want to say something?
Yes, Swamiji, it's a $1,000,000 question. I can take my mind off many things, but it is becoming the Hindu Rashtra, it doesn't go out of my mind.
When it's
India,
becoming, I have not asked.
India becoming Hindu Rashtra, and that somehow it just does not go out of my mind. I do not know why. Though it has been, God has created this and since, I mean, running the world in different way. Baba, Akbar, everybody came and gone. And it will keep coming and going, but I just don't know. I know this is what you call Naswar. It is, I mean, it comes and goes, but this thing at the back of mind that no, it has to become Hindu Rashtra.
It has to become Hindu Rashtra.
Is that a hint? Yeah.
So, no, it is okay.
That is not good. No.
So, the thing is that your own self is a supreme reality. So, why hang on to something called as Hindu Rashtra? Your own self.
I know that because we are one. I know that it is said we are one and we are one. So why shouldn't I get rid of that? I don't.
Yeah, so this Hindu Rashtra, anyway, that is the only thing. Sanatan Dharma is the only thing in this existence, and that is all what everything is, and that alone. So, no need to reduce it to a particular geographical area, calling Hindu Rashtra. The entire existence is that supreme reality. Why limit it to one geographical area only?
Yeah, no. That is what I feel, that everything should become that, everything.
Yeah, this will
there
happen.
Should not be any...
This will also happen.
Swamiji.
Yes.
What? Auntie asked you one question. What Raman Maharshi would have answered her?
Just focus on to whom this question comes, that this should become Hindu Rashtra. Investigate into that.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Swamiji, today's lecture and the last couple of lectures Suddenly today, I don't know why, I was just doing some interior designing a little bit, and there was this person who wanted a proper series of pendulum installed onto a wall so that
Mhm.
his staff keeps knowing that, the time is ticking, so that each ball, there are five balls, so it keeps ticking. So
Okay.
now correlating that image to today's lecture
Hmm.
is like, really, I feel, we are the two ends sitting and getting whacked from side to side, and the center one is peacefully sitting there, hardly budging anywhere. And finally, the art of coming out of that center one also and becoming a spectator of all the five.
In the what you call that infinite existence, every point is the center. And you are also the center.
And Swamiji, thank you very much.
Okay, so shall we conclude now?
Yes, Swamiji.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om